All right, thanks for joining us here. Another edition of Chaos to Clarity. And boy, do we have mischief, mayhem, and chaos starting this weekend in Florida, where I'm now worried about a big tornado threat. You know what? Yesterday I badmouthed the American model, and I got slapped in the face for it because now the idea that this system could be inland is still plausible. Although I will tell you this, I'm telling you right now, when it comes to the guidance early next week of where this storm's going, it's called what I call the windshield wiper effect. It goes back and forth, back and forth. Now, I still don't expect the storm to come right up the coast. I don't think it's going to be or along or parallel the coast. I think there's going to be somewhat of an inland tract. Especially in the southeast, and I don't expect to track all the way back into the Appalachians. And I will tell you, beyond Monday, there's just tremendous amount of confusion beyond what happens with this storm on Monday. But let's take one thing at a time. I want to talk about the severe weather threat in Florida. Now, earlier we thought more of an eastern track, right? That the severe weather wouldn't be that big of a concern. But I'm now worried that we could be looking at an outbreak of tornadoes in Florida. I'm worried about it. I want to show you why. Let me take you right. Let me take you right to the water vapor loop here really quick, and I'll show you what I'm worried about here. Water vapor loop, here it is, and let me show it to you here. I'll do some drawing on it as well. You can see you've got this upper low. Now, there's still that northern piece. Remember, we've been talking about that's key, but you can already see the ingredients for this. You've got the upper low that coming south, but look at what's going on here. You've got all of this tropical moisture in here on the water vapor loop, all these greens and whites telling you the atmosphere is absolutely saturated, so you're going to have a ton of moisture with this. All right, let me take you back, and I want to show you what changes we have today with the upper air. Remember, we've already highlighted, when I go back to the beginning here, we've always highlighted that this piece and this piece, and then a northern piece are the keys to this. And I think that's still the case, but at least for the weekend storm, it's these two pieces that are the key. Now, watch what happens. This is the GFS. And let me show you the European underneath it here. So GFS European, not much change. You see that? So let's follow this as we go forward here. Let's take you into Saturday morning. This is European. This is a GFS, European GFS. You know, pretty similar here, isn't it? Let me put the European up on top here a second here. So there's Saturday morning. There's the European. There's the GFS. So, you know, what they're showing you is here's that second piece. Here's the first piece. And then here's all the tropical moisture. So that's actually a third piece as well. But what's happening is this is going to be dropping into this. Watch what goes on as we move forward here. This is Saturday morning, Saturday evening. So here we go. This energy is dropped in, and then by Sunday morning, you've got this closed upper low. You see that? See how this energy dropped into it and carved off an upper low? And you can see, by the way, by Sunday evening, how far west this upper low is on Sunday evening. It's right there. You can see how far west it is. So this is going to pull this storm inland, right? So it's not going to come up the coast. It'll take more of an inland track. But it's also a strengthening upper low, so that means the surface storm is going to strengthen. Now, that is the European. Let me show you the GFS for that same time frame. You know, see, GFS is shifted a little farther east, just a little farther east. But they both show an upper low coming northward. Now, the difference is now the American model is weakening it, while the GFS or the European keeps it strong. Look at that. It comes right across Virginia. This is a bigger storm for the mid-Atlantic. Both big storms for the Carolina and South Carolina coast. I'll show you that in a second. But a bigger storm certainly for the mid-Atlantic, the American model, than the European model compared to the American model. And you can kind of see that surface panel here. This is the European. Watch this. I mean, it goes down to a 980 low by Monday morning. You see that 980 millibars, right? The American model never gets it. It gets it to about 988 and then 987 and flattens it out. But they all show a storm coming up the East Coast. There's just minor differences. But I think if you live along the East Coast, I think you've got to be ready for some big-time problems, especially along the coast. I want to get to that in a second. I want to get back to Florida for a second, and I want to show you why I'm so worried about a tornado outbreak here as we go forward. I'm going to change my screen here and show you what's going on in Florida here. So the time frame is going to be Saturday. Let's go with the surface panel here, and here's what's going on. Here's your upper levels. All right, so here we go. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, boom. Saturday evening. Look at this energy coming across Florida. You see that right in here? A lot of energy coming northward as we move in. This is Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday night. Saturday evening, Saturday night. Look at all of this energy coming into Florida right in here. All right. Let me show you the surface panel and show you why I'm also worried about that, because you're going to get your area of low pressure right in here. Watch this. Boom. Look at this low pressure going from 1,000 millibars to 996. You see that? So you have a strengthening low pressure system here. And what also is going on, let me put the surface pressure down here so I could draw on a little better for you. What is also going on here is you're getting a lifting warm front, probably somewhere in here. You're getting a lifting warm front. And these warm fronts are notorious near the warm front for directional shear. That is a change of wind direction with height that gives you the spin in the atmosphere to produce tornadoes, and I can absolutely see that in here. Look at this warm front lifting northward. Also, one of the other tools I look at is I look at what's called the low-level jet. What the low-level jet is, it's the winds at around 5,000 feet. Why do I look at that? Because in order to get severe weather, you need energy. How do you measure energy? Wind. So watch what goes on with this low-level jet. I'm going to stop this Saturday morning right here. Okay, notice, here's your low-level jet. You've got a belt of higher winds in here. But watch what it does as we move forward here. This is Saturday morning. Let me take you to Saturday afternoon. Look, watch how it strengthens in here. You see that? Morning, afternoon, evening, night. Look at that. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. Look at how the winds just strengthen here. So think about it this way. You're the atmosphere and you get a punch, right? You get a punch. You're increasing the wind flow in here. So I think you're going to get tremendous upward motion. You have a lifting warm front. I think we're going to be looking at tornadoes here. I'm really worried. And the tornado threat in Florida would be nocturnal. It would be well after sunset. If I had to give you the area where I thought that would be, it would start right in here. Right in here. This would be the area. And in particular, as I take this forward, I'd really worry about this zone in here. Orlando, Jacksonville, Gainesville, I'd really worried about it in this zone. And I think it can happen all the way in here. But this is the area I'd really be concerned about. And what I mean about tornadoes, I don't think one or two. I think there could be several, over a dozen tornadoes in this area in here. Or maybe it's several. I'm not sure in the number, but I'd really be concerned about that in Central and North Florida. Saturday afternoon and especially Saturday night, right in this area. And again, it's a combination of this, of the strengthening energy. But again, I want to go to again, when I look at a low-level jet that is strengthening in here, that means the air is just moving fast. It's like a punch, right? And when that happens, you get more upward motion, and that lifting warm front, you get directional wind shear, changing of wind direction with height. That allows the thunderstorm to rotate. I'm really worried about this area in here. Again, let me draw it for you here. It would be south of Tampa, probably north of Naples, the seacoast, most of the northern peninsula of Florida, and in particular, this zone in here, which would be Orlando in this area, that really has me concerned. So batten down the hatches for that in Florida, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. Now, really quickly, and I got to get going because I don't want to make this video too long here, there's also going to be major problems, I'm afraid, along the east coast of the United States here, because what's going to happen is a couple of things going on here. As I show you the surface map, you'll notice this is European. You see, you've got the big high pressure system off of Nova Scotia, and then you've got this strengthening storm coming across South Carolina. You're going to get a period of very, very strong winds along the North Carolina, South Carolina coast with this. As you get into Sunday afternoon, look at this. I mean, this whole area from the South Carolina coast all the way up to the South Shore of Long Island, and the South Shore of Massachusetts, I think you're going to get a 6-hour period where you're going to have wind gusts of at least 40 to 50 miles per hour, coastal inundation, coastal flooding. I can see power outages here. And really the worst of it appears to be the North Carolina, South Carolina coast, where I could see gusts till 60 miles per hour. I'm really worried about it, especially if this storm takes this track across inland areas here. Now, I still think you're going to have problems in the Virginia, Jersey Shore, Mid-Atlantic coast, but I think there you're talking wind gusts 30 to 40, with a 6-hour period of some problems. But I'd really worry during the strengthening phase of this storm, the North Carolina and South Carolina coast, that this could be pretty bad in here with gusts, up over 50 miles per hour. Again, bad Virginia coast, South Shore of Massachusetts, and even in coastal Maine. But I think it's more like 30 to 40 and some problems. You can have some big problems along that Carolina coast, South Carolina, North Carolina coast because of the way that storm is going to track. Now, having said that, not everything is set in stone. Really quickly before I go, and then, which makes this even more crazy, and it is watch what happens as we get into Monday. Now, the European has always showed this, remember this piece that we've been tracking? This has always been stronger, but look what it does. Look what the European does, and I don't know if it's right. It takes this and it puts this big upper low. Look at this. Look at this upper low track. Monday night into Tuesday, and then it comes right up the eastern seaboard. Now, I have my doubts that this is correct, but at the very least, behind this storm, while there's not much rain and snow with it, what you will see behind this is Look at all this. This is all snow. Snow showers Monday night, Tuesday morning. You get that all the way down into the Appalachians. You start talking about some lake effect snow off of Lake Erie in Ohio, maybe Ontario as well in Syracuse, Rochester. And you've got all these numerous snow showers. And then what happens is, as the upper low comes around, if this is right, look at I'm trying to find the European, sorry. Okay, there it is. Then as you get into Tuesday night and Wednesday, the upper low comes along the East Coast, and then you have to start worrying about accumulating snow on the backside of this across New York State and Northeast Pennsylvania on like Tuesday night and Wednesday. Now listen, the American model doesn't have this. See, look at the difference in modeling here. So here's the GFS European. See the European GFS. See the GFS doesn't have this at all. It comes through and then it's gone, while the European digs it and then comes up the coast. I have my doubts that the European is right on this, but really early next week you've got to pay attention to these upper lows and weird things going on. I mean, the GFS. Look what the GFS does. It takes this upper low that goes off the shore, stalls it, and then tries to bring it back toward the East Coast. Look at this. As we get into the upcoming weekend, Christmas weekend, so it starts to snow. And so there's a lot of mischief and mayhem with this. I don't know what to make of it yet. But I will say this. As the title says, I think we're going to have trouble with tornadoes in Florida on Saturday. And in fact, let me go full screen here. So you see, this is what I'm worried about. Tornadoes in Florida, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. And listen, there's going to be a lot of East Coast rain and wind, and we could be looking at damaging winds here. That would be Sunday night, Carolina coast, and some problems Sunday night in the Monday, Mid-Atlantic coast, all the way up in the eastern New England. But it won't be as bad as what we're going to see in the Carolina coast. So listen, stay tuned. We're going to watch this. But the first things first, Florida. I'm worried about a tornado outbreak there. I really am, Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. If you have any questions, make sure you follow me on Twitter, formerly Twitter. I'm at AccuRayno. And thanks for this channel, and thanks for the comments. Leave a comments, even if you think I'm awful. I appreciate it. I do read them. Thanks for watching.